Hi. In case we haven't met for some reason, Dr. Magsamen-Conrad, I'm your professor in this class. First thing we need to do is get you into our co-created text for this class. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to pressbooks.uiowa.edu, sign in, and do not be fooled by this point here at any point in time, right? So you saw that it plugged in my login information, but it is a big fat liar, and you have to log in through your Hawkeye login. So click on that Hawkeye login, log in with your regular Hawkeye ID information. What that's going to do is that should send an email to you where you have an extra step before you're officially logged into Pressbooks, and then submit on the assignment your email address and let me know that you're all done. Then I can give you access to the book. Once you have access to the book, you'll go to My Books, and I'm guessing you'll only have one, but never can tell. I'm just going to click through all of them. Ours is called Practical Research Implications, Intergroup Communication Intervention, Online, Primary and Secondary Education. I know, so much title. Okay. This is all in the editing window. We're going to talk about the editing and contributing window. You can see that several of our classmates are signed in here already. What you can do instead, right, is go to Visit Book. That'll give you more of a traditional viewpoint rather than that administrative screen. For the Field Notes assignment, you can click on where it says Field Notes assignment. The next two pages, excuse me, that's not true. The next several pages have examples of field notes that students have submitted in the past. Here you can see the same assignment description that's available to you on Canvas. It's going to talk about basically what field notes are. It's going to talk about scratch notes versus fully developed field notes. It's going to talk about what is necessary in your field notes. You're going to have two sections, 1 and 2. For practice for the first couple of weeks of class, we're thinking about the class interaction. So it's not going to be exactly like providing support, but start to get you used to completing field notes. Here are some general notes, and this is usually a good place to start if you're like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what to write in here. You can start right by answering these questions. So click on people. You should have this on Canvas, and start to write down all the people that are involved. Then start to write down things that you observe about setting, context, scene, et cetera, right? And get these things down before you really start worrying about expanding them. After you get them all down, then dive into some of this other information here that's going to give you more leads as to how to consider what you witnessed. You should have recordings available to you. At the very least, you have Tuesday's recording where you could get direct quotes from the technology side of our partners. Hopefully, after I get permission from our interpersonal aspects of our partners, we'll have that video to share as well. I have about the last 20 minutes of some of the just astoundingly wonderful information that our cultural liaisons gave to us. And I'm hoping to be able to post that. I'm waiting on their permission. But if not, hopefully you took really good scratch notes today that you're going to expand. You can think about, now again, this is the first couple of assignments, right? So maybe you really have no idea how to further these scholarly understandings, especially once we start getting into the readings that we're going to do. That should become more apparent. But you can definitely grab back to other things that you've read in courses, different communication theories that come to mind, different aspects of research methods. This part here, this group members, classmates, blah, blah, blah. Remember that I'm never going to share your field notes with anyone else without your permission. So for example, the examples you'll see after this, these students have given me their permission to share their field notes. Even I took out their information in there from a few years ago, and some of them are not living in the state, so you should have no idea who they are. But when we work on things in class, when you share parts of your field notes in class, you'll always have that option to kind of paste those in or share those with the class so that we can think deeper about them. That doesn't mean that you should be cruel or unkind when you talk about people in your field notes, but we all act differently when we're being observed or we think we're going to be observed than not. This second part here is new, and you will not see it in the examples on the next couple of pages. So one of the things I really want to explore in this section is your own feelings, thoughts, skills, abilities, that kind of thing. And you can kind of, if you check out the discussion thread in Canvas right now, you can think about where I'm headed with this, or in the kind of variables section of this book, at least for this first one or two that you're doing, thinking about your self-assessment. You could write about those kind of aspects there. There's a general format for the top of the field notes so that they're all consistent and we all know exactly what they refer to. You would write in your name, who you worked with. First couple of weeks of class, you would talk about the community partners that came and zoomed into class, date and time. This date and time of note of field note completion, it's really important to get to those field notes as soon as you can. I realize that it's right after is not always possible, but this is a good thing for us to consider. You're not going to get into trouble if you get to it at the end of the week, but it's something that we need to think about as we're reading and assessing what you've said. You know, how long it was since the interaction can make a big difference on the types of things that you perceive. Okay, hopefully that should be pretty clear. If you, again, Pressbooks is not my favorite with the navigation, could also be an error in me. So I go back up to the table of contents here, expand this field note assignment, and then you can see several different examples here. Now remember, these will not have the self-assessment section, but just now I talked about how you might think about what I wrote in the discussion for variables and surveys, and check out these kind of chapters here. I actually have no idea why that's labeled 5. Oh well, guess we'll find out. And hopefully that should give you a better idea of how to tackle that first field note assignment.